Hello, night traveler. This is Lunas, your dream storyteller for magical nights. Wrap yourself in your blanket and let your imagination run wild as we venture through enchanted paths of magical and fantastic tales. Tonight, our stories unfold amidst the modern city of Inverness, where a forgotten bridge hides a portal to a magical world. When young photographer Ronan MacLeod stumbles upon Drogheda Briathrack, he embarks on a journey full of mysteries, facing mythical creatures and ancient challenges. Ready to dream? Amidst the modern hustle and bustle of the Scottish city of Inverness lies the mysterious and forgotten Drogheda Briathrack, an ancient bridge crossing the serene River Ness. Built centuries ago by Celtic master builders, the bridge is steeped in legends and mysticism. Surrounded by a dense forest, the bridge is often shrouded in a thick mist, creating an atmosphere of mystery and enchantment. Drogheda Briathrack is not a simple stone construction. According to Celtic legends, the bridge was blessed by ancient druids and became a portal between the mortal world and the magical realm of the Tuatha De Danann, the gods and heroes of Celtic mythology. This portal, zealously guarded by a mythical guardian, is a convergence point where the lines between the tangible and intangible worlds blend. The bridge is a place of great significance and reverence. The ancient druids performed sacred rituals on the banks of the River Ness, and stories tell that on full moon nights, the river's waters reflected not only the moonlight but also the images of mystical beings that inhabited the other side of the veil. Local residents avoid the bridge after dark, fearing the unknown powers it might harbor. In the taverns of Inverness, the elders speak of bright lights and dancing shadows seen on the bridge during the darkest hours of the night. They say these visions are the work of the bridge guardian, a mythical creature tasked with protecting the portal from the curious and the ill-intentioned. The identity of this guardian is a mystery, further fueling the aura of fascination surrounding Drogheda Briathrack. Inverness, with its cobblestone streets and historic buildings, contrasts sharply with the ancient and magical bridge. However, the presence of Drogheda Briathrack serves as a constant reminder of the region's Celtic past, a time when magic and reality coexisted in harmony. It is in this setting that our story unfolds, revealing the hidden secrets and wonders that await those who dare to explore the boundaries between our world and the enchanted realm beyond the River Ness. Drogheda Briathrack is a place full of natural beauty and spirituality. The riverbanks are adorned with willows that gracefully bend over the water, creating a natural canopy that filters the sunlight into golden rays. In the spring, wildflowers of all colors bloom along the banks, filling the air with a sweet and subtle fragrance. However, there is a palpable sense that something more lies beneath the surface, something ancient and powerful. The legends say the bridge was built over a ley line, a mystical energy path that crosses the land. These lines are considered channels of magical power, connecting sacred places around the world. Drogheda Briathrack, being one of these convergence points, is a place of great power and mystery. The Druids believed that crossing the bridge during certain astrological alignments could grant visions of the future or allow communication with the spirits of ancestors. The bridge and its surroundings are a sanctuary for many wild animals. Waterfowl nest along the riverbanks, and deer can be seen drinking from the clear waters at dawn and dusk. But not all the beings that inhabit this area are ordinary. Stories of encounters with fairies, nature spirits, and other magical entities abound among the local residents. These stories, passed down from generation to generation, keep the legacy of Celtic traditions alive and fuel the fascination with the unknown. For those brave enough to explore Drogheda Briathrack at night, the experience is both terrifying and sublime. The silence of the night is interrupted only by the gentle sound of running water and the whispers of the wind among the trees. The moonlight dances on the bridge's stones, creating patterns that seem to come to life. And sometimes, just sometimes, an ethereal figure can be seen, guarding the bridge with a silent and vigilant presence. Ronan MacLeod is a young photographer who grew up fascinated by the legends and stories of Scotland. At 28 years old, he has developed a special talent for capturing the hidden beauty of the Scottish landscape, especially the lesser-known places that carry an air of mystery and history. Living in a small apartment in the center of Inverness, Ronan spends his days exploring the city and its surroundings, always in search of the next great shot. Since childhood, Ronan has been deeply influenced by his grandmother, Fiona MacLeod, a woman of great wisdom and knowledge of Celtic traditions. Fiona, now 82, was known in the community for her stories about druids, fairies, and ancient Celtic warriors. Her narratives were always filled with vivid details and emotion, captivating Ronan's imagination and instilling in him a deep respect for Scotland's cultural heritage. Ronan is a curious and determined soul. His bright green eyes and tousled brown hair reflect his adventurous spirit. He has a special connection with nature and often feels there is more to the world than meets the eye. This intuition led him to explore places like Drogheda Briathrack, where he believes each photograph can reveal something extraordinary. Despite his passion for photography and Celtic legends, Ronan faces personal challenges. He deals with the recent loss of his father, Angus MacLeod, who passed away after a long battle with a terminal illness. Angus was a respected fisherman and a loving father who always encouraged Ronan to follow his dreams. The loss of his father left a void in his heart, but also a renewed determination to honor his memory through his explorations and photographs. Besides photography, Ronan has a small circle of close friends who share his interest in Scotland's history and culture. Among them is Eilidh Sinclair, a historian specializing in Celtic mythology, who often accompanies Ronan on his explorations, providing valuable insights about the places they visit. Eilidh is an intelligent and passionate woman with a contagious laugh and an encyclopedic knowledge of Celtic legends. Ronan's life is about to change unexpectedly when he decides to investigate the mysterious Drogheda Briathrack. Armed with his camera and driven by a mix of curiosity and a desire to uncover the truth behind the legends, Ronan prepares for a journey that will not only reveal ancient secrets but also transform his understanding of the world and himself. The relationship between Ronan and his grandmother Fiona is particularly significant. Fiona is more than a storyteller, she is a guardian of ancestral wisdom. As a child, Ronan spent hours listening to Fiona's stories, learning about druids, epic battles, and magical beings that populate Celtic legends. These stories shaped his worldview and ignited in him a burning desire to uncover the truth behind the legends. It was an autumn afternoon when Ronan decided to visit Drogheda Briathrack. The sun was beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the landscape and creating long shadows that danced as the gentle breeze blew through the trees. With his camera hanging around his neck and a notebook in his pocket, he felt a mix of excitement and apprehension as he approached the bridge. Arriving at the banks of the River Ness, Ronan paused for a moment to admire the view. The ancient bridge, covered in moss and vines, seemed almost alive under the golden evening light. The mist began to rise from the river, wrapping the bridge in an ethereal veil that heightened the sense of mysticism. Determined to capture the magical essence of the place, Ronan began taking photos, each camera click echoing like a heartbeat in the tranquil environment. As he slowly walked across the bridge, Ronan noticed something strange. There was a subtle glow emanating from the stones under his feet, something he had never seen before. He knelt to investigate more closely, adjusting the camera lens to better capture the phenomenon. It was then that he heard a soft sound, almost like a whisper, coming from the opposite direction of the bridge. Standing up quickly, Ronan pointed the camera towards the sound but saw nothing but the thick mist. Intrigued and a bit nervous, Ronan decided to follow the sound. Each step he took seemed to increase the glow in the stones, as if the bridge was reacting to his presence. The whisper became clearer, turning into a soft melody that seemed to call his name. It was an ancient song, full of harmony and melancholy, that touched something deep within Ronan. Reaching the middle of the bridge, Ronan stopped abruptly. Before him, emerging from the mist, was a tall and imposing figure. It was an ancient-looking creature with long white hair like snow, eyes bright as stars, and robes that seemed made of light and shadow. Ronan's heart raced, but he felt a strange calm as he looked into the creature's eyes. "I am Kale, the guardian of this bridge," said the creature in a voice that resonated like a soft thunder. "You are the first mortal in many centuries to have the courage to cross this portal." Ronan, though surprised, couldn't look away. "I am Ronan McLeod," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "I am just a photographer, curious about the legends of this bridge." Kale smiled slightly, a smile that seemed to contain centuries of wisdom. "Then, Ronan McLeod, perhaps there is more to you than just a photographer. Maybe you are destined to discover the secrets this bridge holds." Determined not to let the opportunity slip away, Ronan decided to accept the challenge implicit in Kale's words. "What do I need to do?" he asked, his voice filled with determination and curiosity. Kale took a step forward, extending his hand. "Come with me, Ronan. There is much for you to learn, and the journey is just beginning." As Kale watched Ronan, the atmosphere around them began to change. The mist grew denser, and the stone's glow intensified, creating an almost surreal environment. Ronan felt a shiver run down his spine, but also a growing sense of determination within him. Kale gestured with an elegant hand, and the mist around them began to dissipate, revealing a path beyond the bridge that Ronan had never noticed before. It was a narrow, winding path flanked by ancient trees whose leaves whispered secrets to the wind. "Your journey begins here, Ronan," said Kale. "But be warned, this path is filled with challenges. Only the truly brave and pure of heart can reach the end." With a nod, Ronan accepted the challenge. He adjusted his camera and followed the guardian along the unknown path. As they advanced, the environment around them became increasingly strange and challenging. The trees seemed to move, changing position when he wasn't looking directly at them. The sounds of the forest intensified, with the rustling of leaves and distant cries of invisible creatures creating an unsettling symphony. After several hours of walking, Ronan and Kale reached a clearing. In the center of it was an ancient stone circle, covered in moss and entwined with vines. The air was charged with energy, and Ronan could feel an intense vibration beneath his feet. "This is the first of many challenges, Ronan," said Kale, pointing to the stone circle. "You must cross this circle without breaking the connection with the earth. If you succeed, you will prove you are ready to continue." Ronan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He knew this was a test not only of his physical abilities, but also of his courage and determination. Carefully observing the stone circle, he looked for a safe route. The stones were uneven and slippery, requiring care and precision in every step. With caution, Ronan began to advance. Each movement was calculated, and he used the camera to maintain balance as if it were an extension of himself. He felt sweat trickling down his forehead as he focused on every detail. The energy around him seemed to pulse, almost as if it were watching him. When he finally reached the center of the circle, Ronan felt a wave of relief. He had managed to cross without breaking the connection with the earth. Kale, who was watching closely, nodded in approval. "Well done, Ronan. You passed the first test. Now, we must continue. The challenges will become harder from here on." Before they could advance, a piercing sound echoed through the forest. Ronan and Kale turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows. It was a banshee, a mythical creature known for its screams that foretell death. Her eyes were a deep red, and her hair, white as snow, floated in the wind. "You should not be here," said the banshee in a voice that seemed to cut through the air. Kale stepped forward, protecting Ronan. "We are on a sacred journey," he said firmly. "You will not deter us." The banshee let out an ear-splitting scream, and Ronan felt a sharp pain in his ears. But even in the face of terror, he remained firm, determined to move forward. "Let's go, Ronan," said Kale, pulling him by the arm. "We cannot waste time." Together, they advanced along the path, leaving the clearing and the banshee behind. Ronan knew this was only the first of many trials they would face. But with Kale by his side, he felt he could overcome any challenge. The journey was just beginning, and the secrets of Trocada Briathrak awaited to be revealed. With the banshee left behind, Ronan and Kale continued along the path that wound through the forest. The air seemed to carry an electricity, as if something grand was about to happen. The vegetation around them was dense and intertwined, with plants Ronan had never seen before, some of which seemed to glow with their own light. After a few hours of walking, the forest began to open up, revealing a meadow illuminated by the moonlight. In the center of the meadow stood a large oak tree, its presence seeming to dominate the landscape. As they approached, Ronan felt a powerful energy emanating from the tree. Kale stopped and gestured for Ronan to do the same. "This is the great oak of Ain," said Kale, with reverence in his voice. "Here, many of the Tuatha De Danann come to rest and share their wisdom. We need to ask for permission to proceed." Ronan watched as Kale closed his eyes and murmured words in an ancient language. The air around the oak began to glow, and suddenly ethereal figures began to emerge from the tree. They were tall and majestic, with luminous skin and eyes that seemed to contain all the knowledge of the world. One figure stood out from the group and approached Kale. She was a tall woman with flowing golden hair like a river of light. She wore a green tunic that glowed softly in the moonlight. "Kale, guardian of the bridge, it is an honor to see you again," she said with a melodious voice. "Ain, great moon goddess," replied Kale, bowing his head in respect. "We are on a sacred journey. This mortal, Ronan, is destined to discover the secrets of Trocada Briathrak. We seek your blessing to continue." Ain looked deeply into Ronan's eyes, as if probing his soul. "I see courage and purity in your heart, Ronan MacLeod. But I also see doubts and fears that may be obstacles in your journey. Are you prepared to face these challenges?" Ronan took a deep breath and nodded. "Yes, I am. I am here to learn and discover the truth, no matter how difficult it may be." Ain smiled softly. "Very well. May the moonlight guide your steps, and the wisdom of the ancients be with you. But remember, Ronan, this journey is not just about discovering ancient secrets, but also about discovering yourself." With that, Ain raised her hands, and a silver light enveloped Ronan and Kale. Feeling rejuvenated and inspired, Ronan thanked the goddess. "Thank you, Ain. I promise to honor your trust." As they moved away from the great oak of Ain, Ronan felt a new determination growing within him. The presence of the Tuatha De Danann and Ain's words reinforced his purpose. The journey was far from over, but he was ready to face whatever came next. Their walk led them to a shimmering river, where a water figure emerged from the waters. It was a Selkie, a mythical being that could change shape between seal and human. She had long black hair, deep blue eyes, and a serene presence that contrasted with the banshee's wildness. "Welcome to my domain," said the Selkie with a welcoming smile. "I am Niev, guardian of the waters. What brings you here?" "We are on a journey to discover the secrets of Trocada Briathrak," replied Kale. "We need to cross your waters to continue." Niev looked at Ronan with curiosity. "You have courage, mortal, to face the challenges ahead?" Ronan, feeling more confident after his encounter with Ain, nodded. "I am ready for whatever comes, Niev. With your permission, I would like to continue my journey." The Selkie smiled and nodded. "Very well, but before you cross my waters, you must answer a riddle. If you fail, the waters will not let you pass." She approached closer, her blue eyes shining with an inner light. "Here is your riddle. I am invisible, but you can see me. I am always around you, but you cannot touch me. Who am I? Ronan thought for a moment, feeling the pressure of the challenge. Then, a smile appeared on his face as he found the answer. You are the air. Niev laughed softly and nodded. Correct, Ronan. You are truly worthy of continuing. May the waters be kind to you. With a gesture, the river waters parted, forming a dry path for Ronan and Kale to cross. They crossed the river in silence, feeling Niev's protective presence around them. Upon reaching the other bank, Ronan looked back and waved in gratitude. The journey continued, and with each step, Ronan felt he was getting closer not only to the secrets of Drokeva Bryathrak, but also to a deeper understanding of himself and his place in the world. Night had completely fallen when Ronan and Kale reached the foot of an imposing mountain. The full moon illuminated the winding path up the slope, but the surrounding darkness was deep and oppressive. The air was cold and charged with expectation, and Ronan knew something significant was about to happen. Kale stopped and turned to Ronan, his gaze serious and resolute. Ronan, we are approaching the most difficult test so far. At the top of this mountain, you will face a trial that will require all your courage and determination. This test will not only be physical but also spiritual. Are you ready? Ronan nodded, despite the fear growing inside him. I'm ready, Kale. Let's continue. They began climbing the narrow and steep trail, each step requiring concentrated effort. The vegetation was sparse, with only a few twisted trees and thorny bushes along the way. The silence was profound, interrupted only by the sound of their own footsteps and heavy breathing. As they approached the summit, the trail became more difficult and dangerous. Loose rocks threatened their balance, and Ronan had to use all his strength and concentration to avoid falling. When they finally reached the peak, they were greeted by an impressive sight, a circle of ancient stones, similar to the one they had found before, but much larger and more powerful. In the center of the circle, a figure was waiting. It was a Celtic warrior, tall and muscular, with shining armor and a fierce look. His blue eyes glowed with an intensity that seemed to pierce Ronan's soul. I am Cormac, guardian of this test, said the warrior with a strong and authoritative voice. To continue your journey, you must defeat me in combat. Ronan swallowed hard, feeling the enormity of the challenge before him. He was not a warrior, he was just a photographer. But he knew he couldn't back down now. He looked at Kale, who gave him an encouraging nod. You can do it, Ronan. Believe in yourself. Taking a deep breath, Ronan stepped into the stone circle. Cormac raised his sword and signaled for Ronan to pick up a similar weapon lying on the ground. Ronan picked up the sword, feeling its weight and the coldness of the metal in his hands. He had no experience in combat, but he knew he needed to use his intelligence and agility to win. The duel began, and Cormac advanced with impressive speed and strength. Ronan dodged the first blow narrowly, feeling the wind of the sword pass close to his face. He tried to counterattack, but his inexperience was evident. Cormac easily blocked and attacked again, forcing Ronan to retreat. As the combat continued, Ronan began to realize that brute force would not be enough. He needed to use his mind and find a way to overcome the warrior. He remembered Ain's words about discovering himself during the journey. And then, an idea came. Ronan started using the terrain to his advantage, moving quickly between the stones and using them as cover. He made Cormac chase him, waiting until the warrior was off balance to strike. It was a game of patience and strategy, and little by little, Ronan began to gain the upper hand. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Ronan saw his chance. Cormac was exhausted, and his movements were slower. With one last effort, Ronan disarmed the warrior and knocked him down, pointing the sword at Cormac's chest. Cormac laughed and raised his hands in surrender. You have won, Ronan. You have shown courage, intelligence, and determination. You may continue your journey. Kale smiled proudly as Ronan helped Cormac up. You did well, Ronan. You have proven your worth once again. Exhausted but triumphant, Ronan thanked Cormac and Kale. The journey was not over yet, but he knew he had taken an important step in discovering the secrets of Drocate of Briathrak and understanding more about himself. With renewed determination, he was ready to continue, no matter what lay ahead. As they descended the mountain, Ronan and Kale were greeted by a breathtaking landscape. The dawn light began to tinge the sky with shades of pink and gold, and the fresh morning air was filled with the scent of wildflowers. Ronan felt a wave of peace and renewal as he took a deep breath, his body still tired from the battle, but his spirit lifted by victory. As they walked, Kale spoke about the next stage of the journey. Ronan, although you have faced many challenges so far, there will be times when you will need the help of others. Not all battles are won alone. You will find allies along the way who will be crucial to the success of your mission. It didn't take long for them to encounter the first of these allies. As they followed a crystal-clear stream winding through the forest, they heard cheerful voices and laughter in the distance. Curious, they followed the sounds to a small village hidden among the trees. The houses were built of wood and stone, with thatched roofs and flower gardens around them. In the village center, a group of people was gathered around a bonfire. They were telling stories and sharing food, creating a warm and festive atmosphere. When Ronan and Kale approached, they were warmly welcomed by the villagers, who invited them to join the celebration. A tall and graceful woman with red hair and sparkling green eyes stood out from the group and came to meet them. "Welcome to our village," she said with a smile. "I am Elise, the leader of this community. We were informed of your arrival by Ain, the moon goddess. We are here to help you on your journey." Ronan was surprised and grateful for the warm reception. "Thank you, Elise. Your hospitality is much appreciated. We are on a mission to discover the secrets of Drocate of Briathrak, and any help would be invaluable." Elise nodded and guided them to the bonfire. "We are also guardians of ancient traditions and knowledge. We believe our wisdom can help you overcome the challenges yet to come. Please sit and share a meal with us. We have much to discuss." During the meal, Ronan learned more about the villagers and their unique skills. They were masters of various ancient arts, including herbal healing, potion making, and interpreting signs and omens. Each member of the community played a crucial role in maintaining the village's balance and harmony. After the meal, Elise led Ronan and Kale to a small shrine on the outskirts of the village. The shrine was a sacred place, surrounded by ancient trees and decorated with Celtic symbols carved in stone. In the center was a well of crystal-clear waters, which Elise explained was a source of power and wisdom. "This well is a gift from the Tuatha De Danann," said Elise. "It grants visions and revelations to those who are worthy. Ronan, you must drink from its waters to receive guidance on your journey." With a mix of reverence and apprehension, Ronan knelt beside the well and took a sip of the fresh water. Immediately, he felt a sense of clarity and connection to something greater than himself. Visions began to appear in his mind, images of Drocate of Briathrak, the challenges he would face, and the truths he would discover. When the vision ended, Ronan stood up, feeling more prepared than ever. "Thank you, Elise. The visions were enlightening and gave me a new perspective on the journey." Elise smiled and placed a hand on Ronan's shoulder. "Remember, you are not alone. We are with you, as are the ancients. The wisdom of the past and the strength of allies will guide and protect you." Revitalized and with a new sense of purpose, Ronan bid farewell to the villagers and continued his journey alongside Kale. He knew he would find more allies along the way, and each would play a crucial role in uncovering the secrets of Drocate of Briathrak. With renewed determination and the promise of support, he was ready to face the challenges yet to come. After an emotional farewell from the villagers, Ronan and Kale headed towards the final destination of their journey, the heart of Drokate Abriathrak. The path became increasingly steep and difficult, with dense vegetation giving way to jagged rocks and treacherous trails. The sense of urgency and anticipation grew with every step, while the air seemed to carry an electric charge, foreshadowing the imminent confrontation. When they finally reached the top of a hill, they saw the bridge in all its majesty. The full moon bathed Drokate Abriathrak in a silver glow, revealing intricate details carved into the stones and ancient symbols that told stories forgotten by time. However, they were not alone. On the other side of the bridge, a towering and ominous figure awaited. It was a being of palpable power, with a presence that made the air vibrate around him. He wore black armor adorned with glowing runes, and his eyes were like pits of darkness. Upon seeing them approach, the figure spoke with a deep, resonant voice. "I am Balor, the final guardian of Drokate Abriathrak. To pass, you must prove your worth in combat." Kale stepped forward, raising his sword firmly. "We are ready, Balor. The journey has brought us here, and we will not be stopped now." Balor laughed, a sound that reverberated through the valley. "We shall see, Guardian. We shall see if you have the strength and courage required." The battle began with fierce intensity. Balor attacked with immense power, each blow of his sword leaving a trail of dark energy in the air. Kale blocked and countered skillfully, but it was clear that the final guardian possessed a power far beyond any they had faced so far. Ronan, determined not to be just a spectator, searched for a way to contribute. He remembered the lessons of Ain and Elise, that not only physical strength but also intelligence and unity were essential. Seeing an opening, Ronan began using his camera to distract Balor, flashing light directly into the creature's eyes. This gave Kale the crucial seconds needed to gain an advantage and press the attack. However, Balor quickly adapted to Ronan's tactic, redoubling his efforts. The battle reached a crescendo when Balor invoked a dark power that made the ground tremble and the bridge stones crack. Ronan and Kale were thrown back, struggling to regain their breath. "You stand no chance against me," declared Balor, advancing with a glint of triumph in his eyes. It was then that Ronan remembered the visions from the village well. The images he saw included a bright light emanating from Drokate Abriathrak, a light that could dispel the darkness. "Kale, the bridge. We need to release the light within it." Understanding immediately, Kale moved to the center of the bridge and began chanting an ancient druidic incantation. The bridge stones began to glow, first with a soft light and then with blinding intensity. Balor tried to stop them, but Ronan blocked him with renewed courage, using every ounce of strength he had left to keep the Dark Guardian at bay. When Kale's incantation reached its climax, the bridge exploded in pure, bright light that engulfed Balor, dissolving the darkness around him. The final guardian let out a cry of fury and pain before disappearing completely, leaving only calm and clarity in the night. Ronan and Kale looked at each other, breathless but triumphant. "We did it," said Ronan, still trying to grasp the magnitude of what they had achieved. "Yes, Ronan. You have proven to be a true hero," replied Kale, placing a hand on his friend's shoulder. "But the journey does not end here. We must cross the bridge and discover the secrets it holds." With the path now clear, Ronan and Kale advanced, crossing Drokate Abriathrak with a sense of reverence and anticipation. Every step brought them closer to the hidden truth, to a knowledge that would change their lives forever. Crossing the bridge, Ronan was overwhelmed by a sense of peace and completeness. The air seemed fresher, and the moonlight bathed the path ahead with a comforting glow. On the other side of the bridge, they found an ancient shrine surrounded by centenary trees whose leaves shone with a silver hue. In the shrine's center was a stone altar adorned with Celtic symbols and inscriptions in an ancient language. Ronan approached with respect, feeling the powerful energy emanating from the place. "This is the heart of Drogheda Briathrak," said Cale, his voice soft and reverent. "Here lie the secrets you sought." Ronan placed his hand on the altar, closing his eyes as he let the energy flow through him. Images and visions flooded his mind, revealing the bridge's history and its guardians, the connection with the Tuatha De Danann, and the importance of protecting the balance between worlds. He saw the bridge's construction, the druids' rituals, and the many challenges faced by those who came before him. When the visions finally ceased, Ronan opened his eyes, feeling deeply transformed. "I understand now," he said softly. "Drogheda Briathrak is more than a bridge. It is a symbol of unity and balance, a reminder that we must protect what is sacred and maintain harmony between our worlds." Cale smiled, satisfied. "You have learned well, Ronan. Your journey was difficult, but you proved worthy of the knowledge you sought. Now, it's time to return and share what you have learned with others." With one last look at the sacred altar, Ronan and Cale began their journey back to Inverness. The descent from the mountain was more tranquil, and the feeling of accomplishment accompanied them. Upon reaching the city, they were joyfully and curiously greeted by those who had followed their journey from afar. Ronan visited his grandmother Fiona, sharing with her everything he had learned and experienced. Fiona listened attentively, her eyes shining with pride and joy. "I always knew you had a great destiny, Ronan," she said, holding his hand. "You honor our heritage and did something truly extraordinary." Islet Sinclair, the historian, was also eager to hear about the journey. She and Ronan spent hours discussing the legends and secrets he had discovered, and together they began planning how they could preserve and share this knowledge with the world. Ronan felt a new clarity and purpose in his life. The experiences at Drogheda Briathrak had changed his perspective, giving him a deeper understanding of himself and the world around him. He continued to explore and photograph the Scottish landscape, but now with a new focus, to capture not only the visible beauty but also the magical and spiritual essence that permeates these ancient places. He became a respected figure in the community, known not only for his photography skills but also for his knowledge and respect for Celtic traditions. His photos and stories inspired many to rediscover and value Scotland's rich cultural heritage. Over time, Ronan and Cale became great friends, and their connection with the Tuatha De Danann remained strong. The Drogheda Briathrak Bridge continued to be a place of mystery and reverence, but it was also a symbol of hope and renewal. Ronan's journey had shown that with courage, wisdom, and support, it is possible to overcome any obstacle and discover profound and transformative truths. And so, amidst the green hills and shimmering rivers of Scotland, the story of Ronan MacLeod and Drogheda Briathrak became a legend, passed down from generation to generation, inspiring all who dare to seek magic and truth beyond what the eyes can see. Good night and enchanted dreams.